move much here, can I? I'm like, I'm going to be stuck with my legs open for the whole show.
Man spreading.
Yeah.
I can see the outtake coming in there.
Yeah, that's all Tom Jones does on interviews. Yeah. Do you want the Tom Jones scenario, love?
Yeah.
What's that? Well, it means you stay at home and look after stuff, and I can go out and sleep with whoever I want. Is that all right?
And you have to sing a bit.
And sing and go.
Yeah.
Yo, guys, welcome to the Dealer to Healer podcast. Things are a little bit different, yes, to people on YouTube. Hopefully, we'll record this. I won't lose it, and I won't drop any hard drives. As you can see, I've got my beautiful, stunning friend Zander with me today, looking double-teckers tidy.
And a little bit red now.
I'm gonna stop. I need to stop doing them big laughs. It's a nightmare for when Zander is doing the sound.
Right.
He's like, "Stop doing your laughs."
No, it has to be authentic. It's fine. It's the way it is.
So we're doing? Things are a little bit different today. So I've decided that basically every double-digit show, so 11, 22, 33, is going to be someone interviewing me or asking me questions. And so what I've been putting out on my socials recently is who's got any questions about my book or about the podcast or about anything really. I did sort of want to focus on the book a little bit because just to give something back, because the reviews have been spectacular.
Yeah.
The sales have been really good. The feedback has just been phenomenal. So I just kind of wanted it to focus on the book a little bit. And there's a group that I know, a book club, and they had my book as their kind of whatever it is, their book of that for the next book club. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
So it was sort of
That's a really nice compliment.
Yeah, it was amazing, and a few people come up to me in Lancaster the other day. I was like, "Oh yeah, I read your book. I really liked it," and I'm like, I don't know this person. Who's this person? I was like, "How did you find out I'm a book?" She, "Oh, I'm in the book club." I was like, "Oh, brilliant!
Cool.
That's wicked, man." So
that's really cool.
Made me buzz, and she was like, "Yeah, I really appreciate that you wrote it and how honest it was and stuff." So, yeah. So this podcast, Zander is my willing interviewer. He's going to be interviewing me today with the questions, and then we're going to kind of freestyle a little bit, see where it goes.
Yeah.
I did an interview on Zander's podcast. Obviously, Zander was on my podcast a few episodes back. And I've been on his podcast, which is going to get released shortly. And yeah, he was like, "I want to interview you for yours." So we'll kind of go into that as well. Maybe we'll see what happens. We'll just kind of freestyle it. Today we're in my friend's studio space at the Mill, which is in Manchester. Beautiful, beautiful space, like an old kind of warehouse / mill. It must have been a mill. Of course, space at the Mill. I imagine it used to be a mill. But yeah, beautiful space, and this is the place where we had the yoga rave last week. So it's kind of where it all went off, and oh god, man, the energy at the end. Remember that breath we all took at the end, and it was just
really, that was awesome.
It was almost like I was just snorting a line of coke, man. It was that good, just pure.
If only we knew back in the day, we could have saved ourselves a fortune and a load of hangovers. Bit of cacao and a good breath. That's all you need, kids.
Yeah, cacao. Everyone was on the cacao, so yeah, it was just the energy in the space was. I had to take a moment at the end and just how amazing.
I remember
it was.
you saying that. You just needed a bit of space for a second.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
It was it took me a few days to recover, so I was like, it's kind of like a good come down, but you kind of that euphoria of that space and the feedback that we got and stuff was just amazing. So, and there's going to be another one in this space on the 28th of February. Hopefully we'll have this podcast out before then. Who knows?
I would have thought so.
Yeah, we should do. Yeah, we'll do. I definitely will. I'll get it out
Make it
within
happen.
10 days. So yeah, basically that's it. Zander's going to interview me. He's got a load of questions on my laptop, which I've artistically put into a Pages document for him. How are you anyway, mate? You good?
That's what I was going to say. Should we just have a little chat first? Hi. Hello, sir. How are you doing?
Nice to make
Lovely
your
to meet
acquaintance.
you.
Yes.
The third podcast. This is good, this. It's nice.
Third.
Really kind of feeling nice being back in Manchester for a little bit. It's been really good. the girl I'm seeing at the moment, the beautiful, delightful Aurelie, who should be joining us soon, seems to have an affection for Manchester, this special affection, being a French girl coming here for like the first time. She's like, wow, it's so amazing. The people are really beautiful. And it's been nice. So I'm having a nice time, having a nice little holiday, which is a great thing to be able to do from Barcelona, because when I go back, I'm back in Barcelona.
When you go back,
which is awesome. Sky. Go back home to Barcelona, yeah. So, yeah, thanks for asking. Really good. And you?
I'm good, man. Yeah, I've been a bit like run down this week.
Mm-hmm.
It's the full moon, so tonight, is it tonight or tomorrow?
Yeah, tonight or tomorrow, yeah. And this, in this next 24 hours.
Yeah. So kind of like a few mad things been going on, like forgetting stuff. Just been a bit twisted this week, and I wasn't sure if it was after the rave, and I was like, it took a lot of energy out of me, and although I prepared everything for the rave, like spot on, I didn't eat before it.
Except for when you took your jacket off.
Yeah, I messed that up. I did a mess up with taking my jacket off.
Sorry.
You have these moments. You live and learn, don't you? You live and learn. Always put your cables down your t-shirt.
It's so funny because I was like sat there, and you know when you can see someone doing something, and you can just see, and you just want to do it for them.
I was just like, I just could not. I was just stuck. It was like
just
a
a tiny bit stuck on the last.
But it got stuck on my fucking bangle at first. It was stuck on my bangle, and I was just like, I can't get it off, because that happens a lot when my bangle gets stuck on pieces of clothing. I was just like, oh no. And then I realised I had these cables in me for my like headset, and just couldn't get them out. And I'm trying to do this really nice poem. Fortunately, a girl at the back had her eyes shut, and she went, "That poem was amazing."
Yeah, you held it together really well, to be honest. If you didn't see it, then you held it together. And you actually that's one of your abilities and skills. I think that people who don't know you can see when you do these yoga raves and stuff, your ability to just kind of move through those situations where other people might get really freaked out and like freeze up or lose concentration. You just make a little joke out of it, take the energy out of it, bring it back down to where you want to be, where you control it, and just move through it, and it's good. You made it funny.
Yeah, and that's the thing in a lot of like performance stuff, which is something that I always try and educate people on. It's like, especially music, like, people have come, and the musicians, and like they're apologising for like messing up a line, in the song that they've just sang, and I'm like, no one fucking knows your song yet. You know what I mean? You're not like, no one knows every line of it. And even if they did in a gig, like if the Arctic Monkeys say messed up a line or something, there'd only be a few geeks in there who'd go, as long as you own it,
you can just mumble
nobody knows.
Like,
I was like, mate, no one knows, and no one knows your songs that well. Just own it. Like, as soon as you start apologising, you kind of losing your power a bit. Do you know what I mean? It's like, just go, I fucked up then. Or if like, I couldn't get away with that fuck up. But sometimes don't even acknowledge it. Don't even acknowledge it, man.
Just keep going,
Just keep going with your set, because most people will not have noticed a thing. You know what I mean? Not most of your audiences. Like, I mess up. It was bits of the sequence that I know that I messed up. There's probably a couple of times where I did mess it up, and it was obvious, and I just own it. Like,
no, I didn't notice any of that. So
most people think it's flawless, but in my head, I'm like, I missed that little bit out there. But it doesn't matter, because I owned it. If you then start, oh no, I missed that bit out. Oh no, and then you start messing up the next bit because you're worrying about. Just like life, man.
You're not in the moment.
Just be in the present. Just own what's going on now. But
it's really important.
Yeah, that'd be my advice to anybody who's kind of
it's good advice.
Being on stage or performing or anything.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
it's a good advice. It's good to see. It's good to see it in action as well.
Yeah.
So nice. Yeah, last week was. We came back on the day when the yoga rave was happening, the night before. So that day was like really cool to just kind of start our little Manchester holiday experience with that. Energy was unreal. It was really high energy and getting so hot, and just being able to like connect with so many people, and having the music selection was really good as well.
Nice.
What's the DJ's name again?
DJ Shah Music.
I thought it was Sean, so I just wanted to confirm.
No, Shah _music on Instagram, I think.
Shah, props, because you did a great job. Really nice. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much.
Big love. Thank you from everyone that was there as well. Yeah.
I think the cacao as well, man. The openingness of the cacao, like, just opening people. So what are you laughing at?
No, because I just started talking to Danny. I'd not seen him for ages. And I think I just started going, no.
What, after?
After having the cacao right at the beginning, just before we started. And I caught myself. I was like, right, shut up now.
Yeah, it's good, man. Like I'm doing, after the next rave on the Sunday, I'm doing what am I calling it? The cacao come down after party on the Sunday. Just like get a few people together. I've got a space in here more.
Cool.
And do a proper cacao ceremony.
Okay,
with no yoga, with nothing, just like introspection, allowing people to go a little bit deeper in the meditation, a little bit deeper in, because cacao just clears your mind, man. Do you know, of all the shit, it's like, okay, now let me figure out what's important. Or I've had people come into ceremonies and they're like, oh, I've just meditated for like 3 hours. And it was incredible, and I've just given myself time to do. We've not really done anything. I was like, I've done been a bit of guided meditation. We've wrote a bit of stuff down. I've done a bit of healing, but I'm just giving you the space to do nothing. And the cacao empties your mind and actually goes, okay, so what do I want to be working on? What do I want to get rid of? What do I need to, just them just really basic things that we all find so difficult.
Yeah, super important. Yeah, just giving a bit of mental space.
Totally. Yeah.
I really felt it for the first time. Like last time I did it was with ayahuasca, so I don't know if it was we did ayahuasca, then we did ceremonial mushroom healing, and then we did, which got a bit mischievous, I have to admit, and then we did cacao on the third night, and it was a little bit less effective, I think, because we were still even on that natural high from the after effects of the other stuff, just the mental like feeling of just cleanse like mentally anyway. The first time I really felt it was last week at the yoga rave. Yeah, like I felt it properly at that time.
Because you've not eaten loads as well before, and then you're cleansing your body of lots of toxins. It's like I've done the chocolate yoga like things. When I started doing the chocolate yoga things, I just had girls going, as if they're just coming up. Is it okay if I just dance? Because I can't really concentrate. I'm like, you just do what you need to do, darling. Just like, dance, man, dance. It's beautiful.
It's great. It's really nice. That was part of the yoga rave that I really enjoyed, because obviously yoga, like you like quite explicitly expressed that it's not so much about being so rigid with the poses and stuff like that. That was a real like nice way of it not being able to be like that. There was no space for the yoga that we were practicing to be like that, because there was so much energy and dancing in between. You were just kind of going with the flow. You didn't have enough time to think about being specifically, you obviously had time to do it, but you were moving so much and you were just going with the flow. It was great. I like that aspect of it.
I think it really incorporates into it really well. And you can't be playing a banging tune. Like everyone inside's just going, I just want to like move your hand a little bit or something. No, don't move your hand. It's like, move your hand, man. Like when everyone was just wafting, everyone was just doing that waft, weren't they? Like
there was some tough ones when you were doing Warrior 2. And then you were saying bounce into it. I was like, no chance.
I've just broken my groin.
I'm not that level yet. Sorry, I have to throw the towel in there. But it was good.
It was
really funny.
A lot of fun.
Loads of good energies. So good timing. Shall we?
Yeah.
Start with the questions.
Start with the questions, bro.
Let's see how.
These are all like, I think most of them are all to do with my book. People who've read my book, Dealer to Healer book, Modern Tale of a Fucked Up Male, which I wrote from 2012.
And it says here, congratulations on your first book and the fantastic reviews on Amazon. Currently 5 stars.
All 5 stars.
Which is a brilliant achievement. That's amazing.
I think I've got 46 5-star reviews.
And that's difficult. I see a lot of stuff on Amazon, even the good stuff that you think, wow, it's a good product or book or whatever it might be. And there's always some critics. So to get that, it's well done, bro.
Nice one, man.
Yeah, really good.
I need to get some other people. I want to get a bad review. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want someone to go, it's a load of bollocks. Like, it's absolute bullshit. Like, this guy, and hopefully that will come, because if that comes, then I think I've reached a bigger audience. Do you know what I mean?
That's true. I think everyone needs a bit of critics. A bit of criticism every now and again. Yeah,
just don't take it to heart. But maybe there's something in there that I can constructively build from and grow from. Like, it's not like some people have been slagging off the yoga rave. It's not yoga. It's like, well, it is, And also,
it's different.
I'm not saying that it's a pure yoga practice. Actually, the fucking energies that people were getting and the things that were getting stirred up in people during that practice are more powerful than a lot of yoga classes that you would go
absolutely,
to.
Yeah.
Just to people were dancing freely and openly. Inhibitions were gone. People were just, you saw there was a little bit of fear at the beginning, and then once everybody got into it, it was just like, that's a massive breakthrough, man. That's fucking yoga. Like, not like someone was like, I think yoga's finding stillness and meditation. I was like, yeah, it is. That's an aspect of it, but
it's a different type of yoga.
And the whole thing of yoga is self-realization, to be the purest expression of yourself. So if you're supposed to be, if you've been like thinking about being a dancer for your whole life, and then like, but you're scared of it, and then you go, oh, well, I'm getting into yoga, but I can't be a dancer because I've got to be still. It's fuck off with your stillness. Like, this girl's supposed to be a dancer. Let's empower her to break through her barriers to be what she's supposed to be.
Yeah, I've not been to a rave like that where people, within the first 2 hours, without any drink or drugs, are dancing like that. Even if they're dancing, they're a little bit like, into themselves, a little bit more tight and stiff, and it takes a few beers or a few shots or a bit of drugs, something to get them off the wall and into the centre. And everyone's just in the centre of the mat. It's just like really flowing and moving. Not even like what you'd call specific dancing. Like, it's not a type of dance. It was just flowing. People were just moving with the energy of the music, and that was really cool.
It was good.
Instead of just stood there like that, it was like, because that type of music, that's what you'd see if you went to a yoga rave, a normal rave, at the depths of it at like 5 a.m, and everyone's completely off the head, having a great time. Let's say they're having an equally as good time mentally. They're still probably stood there just stomping the feet, doing
just
that. They wouldn't be moving so freely, and like that was really nice.
And because
really
we had
beautiful
space as well, like, I'm looking at spaces for other yoga raves, and like, he's like, what's the capacity? And he's like, 400 or 500. And I'm like, right, okay, I've got to figure out what's that with yoga mats. You know what I mean? It's probably only 70 people.
What do you reckon this is? What size is this?
I think you can get 200, 250.
Okay, standing,
okay. Which makes no sense to people who are just listening on the podcast, but you can just imagine.
Sorry, it's one of my own personal questions.
You can just imagine it. Zander's got his penis out at the moment, but you can't see that if you're listening to the podcast. You'll have to look on YouTube.
Clearly haven't. Just the metaphorical one here. That's all. Nothing indecent.
So I think also having the space. You've got the space of your mat, you've got a little space either side, in front and behind. It's more space than you'll get on most dance floors when you go to a good event.
Oh yeah,
100%.
I mean? Yeah, and a packed dance floor, you just kind of sometimes have to just ride the crowd a little bit.
I want to throw a proper shape here, but I ain't got any space to do it. I used to go in fabric and you'd just be like, just stuck, just bouncing, just going, it's not really dancing, I'm just kind of in a squash.
No, definitely.
What was this? I will go and
this will be the beautiful Aurelie, I would imagine.
We've got the lovely Aurelie with us now, so we'll cut that bit, and then we just
magic.
Magic. She is as beautiful as I said she was.
She's beautiful, and she's French. Oh no, I was going to say you are for a first French lady on the show. Oh no, you are, because she's on a later show.
Oh yeah.
So you are the first French lady on the show. Check you out. I hope I didn't say that on her show, because then she'd be really disappointed, won't she?
Oh yeah, so you've kept that one to the side for the next series, yeah?
Yeah, I've got a few that are recorded in Barcelona that are just kind of waiting. But I wanted to be number 11, so I was like, and there's kind of like a little bit of a backlog at the moment. Yeah. So I've just got to smash them all out as soon as possible. The YouTube thing's going up as well, so
perfect.
Yeah, Mom.
I think that's good for people to know as well, that you're not going to do it like a typical series where the chronological order is still going to go up in numbers, but you're actually going to split it up into seasons.
Yeah.
I think that's quite a nice idea. I've seen a few other people doing that now, and I think it's nice to just kind of like focus your energy a little bit on some other stuff and then come back to it with a fresh set of people. And
it just be able to give me a little bit of space and a little bit of room, because it is really time consuming, man.
Yeah,
I love it. I love this interview kind of thing, and the guests, and like the information and the insights and the conversations are beautiful. But going away and editing it, and then editing it again, and then like doing other stuff, and then you sending the sound over, and then back and forth a little bit. It's a lot of hours, man.
Yeah. How are you getting on with your book editing? How long before we can...
Okay, next question.
Next question.
No,
Moving on.
No, it's fine. Like,
but because people who are watching don't appreciate how much time, they just think, well, for me as well, like I didn't understand that, you know, when you're listening as a listener to an audio book, you just think that somebody would just speak into a microphone and put it out there, and it's just not that simple.
No.
It's taking you a long time to edit it and get it right.
Yeah, it's kind of like the bane of my life at the moment. But I'm trying to, I need to get back at doing an hour a day because I'm setting up this business at the moment, this yoga rave business. I've just not been able to put any time into it, and I need to get back into. I've just got like a backlog of stuff that I need to sort out, and then I can get back into editing it. But a lot of people have been messaging me asking for the audiobook, like I don't read or I don't like reading, or I like to listen to audiobooks in my car.
Me too.
And I'm
I will
like,
get you one copy.
Yeah, I'm into that.
yeah, but it's a massive.
That's why I'm asking, get the fucking thing done.
It's a big
I need
book,
to
man.
listen
It's
to
not
your
like
book.
it's not like a short story, is it? It's an epic book, man.
An epic adventure.
Yeah. So leading nicely on to.
Shall we start with the questions?
Okay.
Yeah, would you like to present the first one?
I'll let you do it.
Okay, no worries. We can edit that bit out.
Is there anything you want to say before we get started with the questions,
let's
Aurelie?
I'm
introduce
nervous.
you first.
You're nervous?
No,
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
introduce me.
No.
It's okay.
Okay.
We can. How are you feeling?
Good. It's just weird for me to be doing that. I'm happy to be part of it. It's just
Well, that's totally
maybe
normal.
a bit, and I have this uncomfortable feeling, you know, of
Yeah.
doing this for the first time and having a little camera on me, and you're literally also, it's not my language, so sometimes a bit like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm saying some twisted
But
word.
that's the
But
message
it's
of the podcast, isn't it? Like empowerment, and that's the journey
Yeah.
that you're on at the moment, is of empowering yourself, and that is part of it. Just doing shit that you don't feel comfortable doing.
Yeah, it's true.
And that's that, and it's amazing because like I forget, like I do get nervous a little bit when I'm doing my intros in the podcast, but then as soon as I've settled, I'm fine. But like the first podcast that I did, I was so nervous because there was so much stuff going on, and you know, I'm an actor, so it's kind of like not like foreign to me, but it was because I had different things like the sound and the headphones in, and I wasn't sure about the introduction. I wanted it to be good as well, so it's like pressure, and I was so nervous and I was so sweaty. But then I kind of got into it, and then it was like the third or fourth podcast that I did, and I realised that my guest was like super nervous.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we're
I'm
just
so
having why? No, but I'm just like, why? We're just having a conversation. But then I forget, as soon as these get put in front of someone's face, as soon as that camera gets switched on, it creates a different energy. Do you know what I mean? It creates something people are a bit tense to. So if we did this today, and you come back and did another one tomorrow, you'd be totally different. And then you came back next week and did one, you know how it all works. So there's nothing foreign, there's nothing weird.
With
It's like,
maybe more natural. No?
yeah, no, totally. But it's just everything that you do is, you know, the more you do them, the less new they are. So it's not scary.
Just practicing.
Yeah.
It's the only way to get good at something. It's the only way to face your fears and get over that nervous feeling. It's good to feel nerves,
Totally.
but then to be able to channel them and just be like, right, I'm doing something great, and I'm getting to that stage now. Like with loads of things.
Yeah, we've
God, the
that's-
first one I did with you was petrified.
No, yeah.
Fidgeting around and could stop moving, and I was like crossing my legs. And
But then as soon as you got into it, you were like on it, man. It was great.
better, but the second one and then
Yeah,
this
yeah.
one now, I just feel like it's just a chat. We're just having a chat.
We are, though, aren't we?
Yeah.
Really.
Kinda.
It's like what Bruce Lee says. It's like I don't fear the man who throws 1,000 punches. I fear the man who practices one punch 1,000 times.
Yeah, it's a bit
Got
like
that right? Yes.
It's a bit like that other one. What's that guy that says something like he's got 10 hours to chop down a tree, so he spent the first 9 hours sharpening the axe
Yeah.
to get
Totally.
it right. Yeah,
Totally.
it's a good quote. So
Yeah, I need to take that into my life.
So
I usually go,
full
I could
of
just do that.
platform.
Hack.
yeah, you spend ages doing that. You could just make the tools better.
Exactly, man.
Yeah. Cool.
Cushy.
Okay. So, should I read the name of the person as well?
You
I
can
don't think
read
they've
a
all
name.
got a name.
No,
with them.
some of it, like the
Some are
book club
anonymous.
ones, they're not anonymous. I think they just all got given, and the names
Okay.
didn't get put on them. So
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll give Louise Curtis the credit for this question.
Hi, Louise. I love
Hi,
Louise. We love you, Louise. Thanks for the question, Louise.
Thank you for the question.
Thanks for all your support with everything, Louise, because Louise supports most of the things I do, and she's absolutely brilliant, and I love her to bits.
So this is someone you know already, yeah?
She comes to my classes, and like she bought the book, she's wrote a review, like she supports.
Awesome.
She's one of my students.
I remember her.
Oh yeah? Okay, well you know more than I do. Sorry Louise, we'll get to know each other next time. So, her question is...
So many of the reviews highlight the book's capability for self-discovery and positive change. But the book also gives the impression that you felt you had no option but to change your life to continue. How have you done it when so many others fail?
Do so many other fail? I guess because like you get to the stage where there is no other option. It's either kill myself or crack on and try and discover what's making me so unhappy, and find things that make me happy. So how have I done it? By having the balls to go traveling, the balls to try new things, the balls to like turn up at a yoga class, the balls to turn up at meditation classes, the balls to turn up at spiritual events and be like one of the only boys, or like the other boy is like 20 years older than me. Do you know what I mean? Put myself in these positions where I'm going, where's all my mates who are really cool and doing cool stuff? But then I'm like, but that cool stuff isn't making me happy anymore, so why do I still want to do it? But you're still fighting inside. Like, it's about just letting go of the bowlines and just going, right, I'm just going to flow with this and see where it takes me and be open to everything to heal myself, or I'm going to kill myself. Rather than, like, I remember when I was going to group counselling and there was a woman there and she's like, I've been this depressed. She was like, really in a bad way. I've been this depressed for 35 years. I was like, why have you not killed yourself yet? Like I said, I've given myself 3 years. If I still feel like this in 3 years, there's no way I'm doing 5 years of it, mate. No chance. So it's like, I had the balls, I would have killed myself. Like, I was like, you've got the balls. So if you've got that much, if you've got the balls to kill yourself, because I think that's quite a big thing. Yeah. And a lot of people feel like they've got no other option other than to kill themselves, because it's not like even having an abusive partner. When your head's that abusive, you can't get away from it. It's fucking stuck. Like, you can't, like, it's just constant whirlwind of thoughts, just abusing yourself, like, mentally, physically, it's just disgusting. But to not make sure that you heal that as soon as possible is just mental to me. Like, so get off your ass, change your situation, change your state, have a cold shower in the morning. You know, so many people say to me, no, I can't do that. I'm like, yeah, you can. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh no, I can't do that, but you can. Like, especially if they're unhappy. It's like, well, if you're gonna keep saying you can't, then nothing's gonna change. Yeah.
That's the first point that you have to change. That word is destroying a lot of people.
Exactly. Yeah.
Can't. It's just nonsense.
I get the feeling that more than the fear of not having the balls to do this. No, this killing or take away your life, was maybe more the love that you have maybe for the life, not to continue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You gave maybe on that moment more power to
go
away on the positive and with the love that you carried for you and for your life than just.
I think that has to be the answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the end,
yeah.
Just fearing and you know.
Yeah, just add and the love to your handle.
Exactly, man. Yeah. Yeah, everyone who's been depressed and struggling, just put love at the end of your handle. Yeah. You'll be fine. £50 an hour coaching, hit me up, direct message me. Change your handle to love. Right. We'll have another session next week.
My great advice, actually. So send the money to me.
Should we go into business
with?
Should we go into business with that one?
Easy.
Did I answer that question?
Really nice.
Yeah?
Yeah, really good.
Cheers, Louise.
Thank you very much, Louise. Okay, so this is not anonymous, but there's no name attached to it. But if you know this is your question, thank you very much. With the book being categorised as self-help self-discovery, a story of transformation. Would you also classify it as a travel book? And what would your top tips be for travelling?
I would classify it as a travel book as well. It's like a travel adventure book because it kind of like the travels in it. I've inspired people to travel themselves. Like I've had a lot of people go, I've just booked this thing based on reading your book. You know what I mean? And but my best travel tips for actually having the best time are: don't plan too much. Yeah. Just plan a few places that you go into. Even just go to one place and just see where you end up going, because that's when you're really at the mercy of the universe. You're really open to, like, I've just met this couple and they're going to this place called Champagne that I've never heard of, and it's supposed to be amazing, these idyllic pools. Oh, but I've booked on to go to this city that I'm already booked, so no, I can't come. And it's like, no, like, let's go and check that out. Like, city's a city wherever you are in the world, pretty much. And yeah, they vary a bit. It's different energy, but like to go and see some like idyllic fountain of pools in the middle of some mad mountains, like take your breath away. Yeah. There's no man-made structure. There's a couple of buildings that take my breath away that are man-made, but there's nothing like natural stuff. Nature. Yeah. But yeah, travel as lightly as possible. Don't take much stuff, which is difficult.
I concur, that is difficult for me.
It's difficult, really difficult. Especially when you got bare sick jackets.
Like this one. It's a lovely one. You did that on purpose. You wanted to get that in there.
I couldn't take this travelling with me. It's too bulky, man. Just thin stuff, and especially because you want to pick stuff up along the way. You want to send things home. Make sure you've got a nice water bottle. Keep hydrated. Buy bottled water. And just talk to local people. And that doesn't even mean I made some great friends, like some great Mayan Quechua people who couldn't speak any English. I was working with these 4 girls in a kitchen, and we just had the best time. We laughed so much. Never understood a word anyone said, but we all just connected. So you don't always need language, because people always say to me, "Oh, you should have learned Spanish by now." I'm like, I'm all right. I can make connections and.
But you do know a bit of Spanish.
Yeah.
Feliz Navidad.
Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad.
What's your pickup line?
I forgot it. What was it?
¿Dónde está?
Oh.
The what?
What was it? Oh yeah. ¿Dónde está mi camiseta? Mi camiseta es verde.
Oh, that's it.
Hola, mi camiseta. Hola, señorita. mi camiseta es verde, por favor.
I wasn't gay until that moment. It works.
That's a Malta, that, isn't it?
That is a profound.
Sorry, babe, I'm moving on. Is camiseta's birthday? So I'm gone. Sorry, it's actually birthday.
See. Oh, it is today, isn't it? No, it's not. But no, it's not. It's not quite. I've got a bit in my jacket, but my camiseta is definitely not verde.
Okay. Well.
I was trying to get this girl in the shot. I was in the Unicorn today in Cholton. I was trying to get this girl. She's I think she's South Korean. Because I like the word. They have these things called gamadokis, which if you're middle class, you say no. Gamadokis is kind of like a fried tofu thing with like a crispy batter on the outside. And obviously in Mancunian it's gamadoke. Can I have a gamadoke? I was like, can you say gamadoke? She was like, a gamadoke? I was like, no, you got to say gamadoke. Gamadoke. Everyone in the shop's looking at me like I'm like retarded.
What's going on with that man?
I was having fun.
You do have fun everywhere you go. It's super important.
Repeat, Kamadoki?
Kamadoki?
A gamadoki?
Kamadoki?
Oh, I can do it.
Should we just have a 5-minute gamadoki session? Gamadoki.
It's like almost like karaoke, but tastier.
Oh, we could do a karaoke episode of the podcast.
Karaoke. Kamadoki.
Hola, mate.
Yeah.
Imagine if you was eating a kamadoki while you were doing karaoke.
Karaoke with Liam Gallagher. That's got it right off.
My dad would be there.
Yeah.
And
I
would be writing.
Soon.
You can meet him whenever.
Well, not right now, because he's not here.
Well, we should.
That's what he'd probably say, innit? He'd go, yeah, but he's not here.
I'm thinking about doing a podcast with me, my brother, and my mate Chris, and we just tell stories about my dad. I think it'd be hilarious. I know it's nothing to do with transformation. Well, actually, because it'll make the listeners go, how's Liam turned out?
Yeah.
Like, half-ish normal.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dad is a full-time lunatic.
Is it a big character?
It's just hilarious.
Yeah.
It's the funniest person I've ever met. Right, did he answer that one?
You did answer
Do
that
travelling, do good travelling, speak to people, don't be scared. And
Travel light.
Travel light, yeah.
It's a good tip and 2 very good questions.
Yes, thank you.
So,
This one is a large one. What does it mean? I.e., just...
For example.
yeah.
Okay. So, most of the reviews include the word funny, hilarious, humorous, laugh out loud. Would you say that is a part of your personality character that has enabled you to transform your life? Perhaps the ability to find humor in the darkest of the moments. For example, Meet This by Garden Fork. You managed to move the emphasis to the stuck-up owners to the property. What were the funniest part of the book for you?
That is probably one of the funniest parts of the book for me, is where I'm like in a garden and I'm thinking about committing suicide and I've got this fork pushed in my chest, and it's just when I'm reading, but I'm not intentionally like writing in this way, but then I realise it's really good the way I've shaded it, because it's like, you know, it's almost a black scene, really dark, but it's just like this vibrant, these colours that I bring into it with this, like, the woman that I'm working for, because we've been working for, like, was a regular gardening job that we used to do, and she was so stuck up, she never offered us a brew, and I used to always say to my boss, and my boss was a woman, that she needed a good dick up her arse, like, just to loosen her up. And my boss did agree. She was like, yeah, she was like, yeah, she does need fucking up the arse, like, you know, doesn't seem like, she's just really tense, really uptight, but, you know, bringing that into the element of writing about wanting to commit suicide in this really dark place that I was in at that time, to shade it with that humour. But I think because I'm just writing, I'm not trying to be funny, I'm just writing what happens. And I've always had humour. Like when I was at school, I used to make people laugh in the classroom, used to make people laugh. When I was at college, like just doing stupid stuff and messing about, just make it, you know, just always having laughter. And it's kind of like, my dad's like that. My mum was funny. My mum had a great laugh. My nana's got a great laugh. And then it just so happens that I just think there's always humour in every situation. There's always something funny, like, you know what I mean? Like, even when my mum was dying, there was like funny shit that happened. It was like mad shit. I remember, like, in the book, I'm running. I just found out my mum's dying and I'm running out. I'm like, I've just sorted my sister out and someone's took over from her. She's fucking distraught. And I'm running out of the hospital so fast because of like, just like everything's going to explode out of my face. You know what I mean? All this shit's coming. I'm like, ugh. Like you almost disintegrating, or you're going to vomit emotion. And I'm running, and you know them doors that open but they got a sensor on them, I'm running towards them, but in my head I'm like, I'm running so fast, what if the sensor don't go off and I just got to smash into the doors? Do you know what I mean? I'm just going to go boom, like, and then just lay on the floor and start crying, and someone has to come pick me up. I went, I just need to be out of the hospital. Fortunately the doors just opened as I got there, and I like ran through. So just bits like that, just like those moments of like the worst fucking thing that can ever happen to you, but like see the hilarity in another element of it, you know what I mean? Or like, yeah, when my mum got cancer and she was getting wigs and stuff, and I was like, you need to get like get a full set of dreads, like, do you know what I mean? Just get a full set of dreads, why not? Like, you might die, just get dreads. I'm not getting dreads, I just want a normal wig.
That's brilliant. Yeah, there's definitely humour in all sorts of stuff, isn't there?
Yeah, but I'm really, like, obviously, because I've never written anything before, you're like, does this humour come across? How's it taken? Do you know what I mean? And I'm just so joyful that people are, like, telling me that they've been reading it on the train and, like, laughing out loud on the train, like with my book in their hand, and I'm like, or crying on the train with my book in their hand, and just like, it's this kind of roller coaster of emotions that I'm like, I wanted it just for one person to say that, and like the fact that everyone who's reading it's like I'm laughing and I'm crying interchangeably, just it's wonderful. I'm making people feel through it, you know what I mean? So it's
a brilliant skill, definitely. I think when people don't expect it, they start embarking on that story of despair for it to come out of like the most unexpected place. It's brilliant. To be
you're crying and then the next thing you're like,
how's he thinking that? Yeah, it's a really good skill. I like it. Number 4 was the book cathartic?
Yes. It was cathartic when I wrote it at the time, and then it was also cathartic in actually publishing it and having the bottle to publish it. There was a lot of stuff in it that a lot of people that knew me didn't know, but it was never that I'd hidden it from them. Like, people were like, I'm sorry, I never knew. I expect you to know it, like it never come up. It wasn't like I was hiding it from you. It's just like, maybe we never had that conversation. Maybe certain people I did have that conversation with. But there's a lot, you know, it made me realise, just a lot of it made, like, it was a lot of trauma from my childhood, like, and from my teenage years, just so much trauma that was kind of good to like start writing about, because you kind of forgot about it, and it's like, okay, another little process. And it was cathartic in terms of, at the time when I was really trying to finish it, I was writing an album with my band, and there was a lot of songs that come up from the writing of the book. I'd just like write a song like straight away. So it feels like from publishing it that it's just a massive weight off my shoulders of this thing that was sat on my computer. You know what I mean? I thought maybe it'll never get published. It'll just sit there and I'll just talk about it like a dickhead for the rest of my life. I'm going to publish this book and never actually do it. Or I was just felt like I was waiting for somebody else to come along and go, oh, Liam, here's £1 million. We're going to take your book around the world. You know what I mean? Do everything for me, which doesn't really happen in life. So
it's kind of a two-part question now you've answered it like that, because the next question does say, does it feel like a punctuation mark, like a period under those past years of your life, like you can literally shelve it now? So you kind of half answered it there, but just to expand on it maybe a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, can draw a line under it, but I also understand that I've not healed all of it. I'm quite aware of these certain aspects that I've not healed completely, but a lot of it I also have, and I think taking a lot of responsibility myself for stuff that happened, and not kind of holding it against people, and realising that their behaviours were just their behaviours from the situation that they've had, or you know what I mean? I don't know what their childhood was like. I think just kind of having more of an understanding of my behaviour and how that affected other people, rather than blaming everyone else, you know what I mean? I was always angry and blaming everyone, so I'm not like that anymore.
That awareness in itself as well, that just being aware of the not being fully healed, and maybe that there's always learning and space to grow a little bit more, and maybe go back to it and revisit, is a really important factor of healing and allowing that space for it. Totally. It's a really important part. So I'm
just hoping I don't have to be, because like obviously my mission is like to help people become the best version of themselves, which in a way is kind of like being a life coach or being a counsellor or something. But a lot of people say that the best life coaches and the best counsellors are like the most fucked up people. I don't want to be one of them ones.
I think it's past that point already, bro. Past that ship has sailed, mate.
At least I've got a nice coat now, though.
You have.
Should I go with the follow? Okay.
Yeah, keep going. Go for it.
Why write the book at such a young age?
I like this person. Whoever wrote that question.
He's not that young.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not that young. I'm not that young.
What do you mean?
I'm joking.
Come on.
Friendship.
Yeah. Well, but I'm not that young anymore. I feel it. I still feel young.
You look young.
I'm still young.
Still feel young. Yeah, no. You're loads younger than me.
I'm the youngest.
I didn't choose to write the book.
Yeah.
The book chose me to write it. It wasn't like, it was the universe. It was loads of things that aligned. I always had something in the back of my head that I wanted to write a book.
Mm.
Under what pretenses, I don't know, because I wasn't good at English. I can't spell. I'm dyslexic. Like, it wasn't something that I did as a kid. It was just something in me that was like, oh, I'm gonna write a book one day.
Yeah.
And it's happened, and I made it happen. But, well, no, I made it happen, but the actual writing of getting started with it was just crazy. I was just I'm hardly writing at the moment. Like, I'm not writing songs, I'm not writing anything book-wise. But at that time, in that energy, I just could not stop. I couldn't stop. It was like, the book's half the size it was. Like, what I wrote was immense, like, just so much, man. So it was just, it was crazy. But then I guess that with the age thing, it's like, one of my favourite authors is Richard Millwood, and he wrote, I think he's one of it, like 10-Story Love Song or Apples, he wrote when he was like 19. Brilliant books. Such a good writer. But I guess for a memoir, you're usually a bit older. Like, a couple of people who haven't known me, who spoke to people that do know me, assumed I was like in my late 50s. So I guess that's a compliment in a way, isn't it?
Do you think that happens because people are just afraid to share things so young, or why? Why do you think people do hold back until that time?
Yeah, there was elements of my book in terms of my dad and my stepdad that I was like, do I wait till they die till I bring this out? And I'm like, no, this is my story. Like,
because it was stuff that was concerning them, or stuff
bad stuff about them. Not that I was slagging them off, just factual stuff.
Yeah.
Like facts, that I, obviously my interpretation of the facts, but mostly first-hand stuff that can't be like, you can have a conversation about it, but this is stuff that happened to me and that I saw, so there was that fear of them being upset, and kind of,
which is normal.
But and they are. My dad's pretty thick-skinned, and the first thing I said to my dad was like, he read the first chapter, he was like, well, people are going to want to punch me in the face now, aren't they? I went, Dad, don't worry. He went, well, people are going to want to bash me. And I said, Dad, if anybody, my whole book is about not being reactive like that, about understanding. As I said, I don't know what you went through as a kid. I don't know your reasons for behaving like that. It was quite common for an Irish man to beat his wife at the time. That doesn't condone it. Also there was stuff that my mother was doing that wasn't angelic, that was, provoking an aggressive, violent man, which is not a sensible thing to do. Do you know what I mean? So I said to him, if anybody ever comes and wants to punch you or be violent towards you, I said, I'll be the first one stood in front of you protecting you because I love you so much. So it was, that really.
That's a really beautiful thing to say. That's really nice.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you think your book captures the highs as well as your lows?
To an extent. I don't think there's like, I don't think I put as much of the stuff that I achieved, like, that was kind of really positive, but I kind of never really saw that, you know what I mean? I always saw that I was struggling a bit, and and people people on the outside, they view your life. Like even now, people view me life and they think I'm super successful, really rich. Like I've got a book, I've been in movies. Like they just assume that you're minted and your life's together. Yeah. And it's like, well, actually, financially, it's not all. You know what I mean? That's the thing that I'm working on a lot this year, is to create wealth and to create stability through finance, like through money, and have a really better relationship with money. Yeah. What was the question again? My head's gone.
Do you think your book captures your highs as well as your lows?
No.
Good question, thanks.
Cheers, Janice from Shropshire.
I guess I can expand on that a little bit for you, because I think that knowing you the way I know you now, is I can see how your perspective, unlike other people's perspectives, would see the lows as a positive. And you see the beauty and the structure and the way it helped guide you towards higher highs than the maybe other typical highs people would perceive. You know, so actually looking through what other people from an outside perspective might see as a high, you then discount as, it was a little luxury and a bit of fun, but actually the suffering and the lows were the beauty. They were the highs, because actually that was the beautiful learning that you needed to lead you towards that now spiritual, yogi, balanced, compassionate life, with this kind of ability to share that with people. And without that low, the highs wouldn't have meant anything really, and you would have got to this kind of high.
And that's what I try and teach people. I was having a conversation with my nephew about it, and you know, he's talking about his parents and this and that, and I'm like, actually, you know, you've got to be thankful sometimes if you think your parents were a bit shit, or if they were a bit shit, because it gives you an example of sometimes what you don't want to be. And I think in a lot of stuff that I do, I get inspired. Like if I go and see a gig, some guy's like selling out a massive space, I'm like, he's dog shit. Like, but it inspires me and go, Jesus, I could do that. Like I feel like I could do that, because he's really shit. Do you know what I mean? I get inspired by, like you don't go and see David Bowie or like Prince and go, I can be them, because they're another level. You know what I mean?
Untouchable.
It's like, that's genius. You know what I mean? Yeah, we've all got that inside us to some extent, but to go, I'm gonna be as good as Prince. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, mate.
And even those shit people that you see, there's still something massively impressive about just doing it anyway.
They've done it.
They've just done it. The only difference between you sat on the couch, who's probably as good as them, is that they got up and went, I don't give a fuck what people think. I'm going to do it.
Exactly.
And they've got up on stage and they've bared it all and they've done it.
And that's what you had.
A crowd called Liam going, I can do better than you. But they don't know it, but they're still there.
Yeah, but they're in every profession, there's people like that. Do you know what I mean? People that you're like, even footballers, like, just work hard.
Manchester United is a great example. This season, crap.
No, but he's like, there's a player called Lee Dixon, and he always said he wasn't a good player. He just worked his socks off. And his dad took him to the teams, and he was professional. He was always there, and he just kept going, and he worked really hard. And in a lot of, in the art scene, a lot of my mates were in the art scene, and it was like there was people whose work wasn't great, but they had the chat, and the networking. So it's all different elements of how you can succeed. Like, use what you've got and use your skills. Your skills might be like behind a computer marketing yourself, or your skills might be actually going to the parties and networking through the parties, or whatever. It's just find your little bit of niche and your speciality.
Yeah, that's what McGregor says, isn't it? He's a brilliant fighter, but he says, I was not born with talent. He actually doesn't believe that talent exists at all. I think like I'm kind of going in that direction. It's debatable. But he says talent doesn't exist. I just work hard.
Yeah, I think people have like a naturally, like, have a natural appeal at some sort of things. I remember Elijah Wood was talking about who was his mate, one of the Osborns. What was the Osborn lad called? Jack. So he was like, Jack Osborne, not a good-looking guy, is he? He said, he's not like, you wouldn't say he's
not your typical.
No, you wouldn't go, Jesus, that's a sexy man, would you?
Liam Browne love, is he?
It's not Liam Browne love. Handle. If you put love on the end of your handle, Jack, you probably
debatable
Well,
whether you
actually,
should do it with the name
no.
Browne or not.
It is a little bit debatable.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like when I was thinking about calling my daughter Indie Browne. I was like, no, we can't do that.
Definitely
we can't do that. She'll never live it down. Why did your parents call you that? I mean, my dad's a little bit sick. No, anyway, the point was, Jack Osborne, Elijah Wood was talking about Jack Osborne and how he'd go to parties and Jack Osborne would just have women around him. He just had this thing, this like magnetism from women, and he could take a lot of them to bed with him. Yeah. And Elijah Wood was just like, he just had that natural thing, and some people just have a natural thing with certain things. But then what Jack Osborne's doing there, you can also learn it.
Anyone
you can learn the skills. Go and read the game, do you know what I mean? Read the game, the rules of the game, and I think they're super books, me. People go, oh, it's a bit this. I was like, for a woman to read that, it's a good book. It shows you how to be confident, how to look after yourself, how to be nice and personable, how to ask people questions, how to have conversational skills, like a lot of skills that a lot of people are lacking. So for me, it's like sometimes a woman should read that book and flip it. Do you know what I mean?
Warning signs what guys to look out for.
But also,
fake as well.
but also for her, if she wants to talk to a guy in a supermarket, do you know what I mean? And she's scared, like, just go and say something to him. You know what I mean?
These games work with everything. Job interviews.
Everything. Just
kind of
hacking your mind.
Just a life hack,
Yeah.
Brilliant. I'm gonna have to.
Thanks, Jack Osborne and Elijah Wood, for your input there. Hope you're listening to the show, guys. You can come on the show.
Hold on. What am I doing here? Remembered.
I thought you was rewriting some questions then.
Yeah, that's no good. Right, okay. There we go.
You navigate your life through others in the book. Signs, signals from others. How easy or difficult what it is to do this, to trust the signs and in other people when you were struggling with your mental health?
For me, it was handing it over to God. It was like going to the 12-step meetings, going, I'm not doing a very good job of this. Like, can some higher power please take over, because I'm not enjoying it, I'm struggling, I don't know what choices to make. And I was looking for signs all the time. I was looking for little opportunities that like seemed divine and that seemed to be like mystical, that were guiding me. And if you read the book and like the travels, that everything felt like it was like cosmically orchestrated in a way. And just to trust it sometimes, because there were situations where I'm like, oh, this has been a big mistake, and then that leads to something, and you're like, fuck, if I wouldn't have done that, actually, this epic thing wouldn't have happened. So it's just like, and threes as well. It's like if you see three of something, or there's like a sign to do something, you're like, oh, okay, maybe, and then something else, and you're like, oh, took notice of that. The third time, do it, boom. I don't know who taught me that, but it's like, I think Carl Jung talks about it. Yeah. I think Carl Jung talks about it. It's like the third time is God going, boom, right. You crack on with that.
Yeah. Do you want to read the second part of that question?
How did you know which sign or person to listen to?
How did I know? Just to feel it, like, put positive energy out, like give people love, and it seemed to get a lot of love back. To be open, and there was a lot of situations where I'm like, I could be murdered here. Could be murdered at any point. Or then I've talked to someone. I've just been walking around this area and went into this. You was in what area? What area? You can't go to. You can't walk around that area. I'm like, it was all right. It was fine. It was pretty nice. Oh, that's the most dangerous people. Get shot there every day. Like, okay, I didn't get shot. I'm fine. Yeah, but I'll stop getting fucking shot.
Everyone start getting shot.
I was like, I'm walking around with a light. I felt like when I was, honestly, man, when I was doing them travels, I just felt like I could go anywhere. Yeah. I felt like I was like...
The air of invincibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's intuition. It's a tough one for some people. It takes a little while to learn.
Go hitchhiking.
How to take those risks. And
but there's an amazing thing happening when you're traveling. It's like, well, I will talk from my experience. You're losing that fear that maybe accompanying you every day, and those sort of, if you do this, it's not going to happen. You're just traveling and living in the moment, and you know those amazing people, and you're living those amazing experience, and then it comforts you to go ahead and just to trust what is coming, and without fearing and without judgments, and at least not letting too much power to those things. It's always coming, but it's like, oh no, I'm putting it there, I'm just following my thing and having this amazing time. In my case, I traveled, it was 4 years ago now, and I traveled like during 4 months alone, and I came back with such a strength in me, like it's like reconnecting with this internal power, and I was like, everything is possible, I'm gonna eat the word, I'm gonna do that, and it felt so good, no? It's always inside us, but then, I don't know, it's
harder to experience it when you're just living in your normal circumstances, because you're not as open to just like meeting people, to going off this here and there. You're not kind of living for the moment or being open to everything. So it's traveling, like I just recommend everyone to go traveling for a little while, because like you said, just you feel empowered when you come back, and you feel less scared of lots of situations.
And if you feel like it's taking a risk, then just remember that not taking a risk is as big a risk as taking one.
Exactly.
Because you might miss out on something huge by not taking that risk. So it could be detrimental in the long run.
Oh yeah.
So
definitely.
Interesting. I definitely need to do some more travelling, that's for sure. The book is also a very honest account. Did you always intend it to be that way, and why be so honest?
Why be so honest?
Good question.
Why be so honest? Why not be so honest? I think we need to step into an era of like transparency where we can all be honest, like because people have read the book, like friends of mine read the book and was like, you did make yourself sound like a bit of a dick, And I'm like, yeah, but I was a bit of a dick. They went, but you weren't that much of a dick, really. I was like, yeah, but that's what I was up to. So they're quite dickish things. Like, I was. One of my friends, she'd say to me like, "You're an amazing friend, but you'd be the worst boyfriend ever." I was like, I agree. Yeah, I agree. But my girlfriends didn't think I was the worst boyfriend ever because I was lying to them. Well, I wasn't lying to them. I just wasn't telling them like
the whole truth,
the other stuff that I was getting up to.
Half truths.
Exactly. So I was still, in a lot of ways, a loving, a good, affectionate boyfriend. But yeah, I think becoming a yoga teacher, and well, actually, the 12 steps to recovery is all about stepping into truth, stepping into like being honest. When you start yoga, like satya is like honesty. Is speak truth. Like there's certain rules where you don't have to speak, you don't have to be honest, and you can choose to also. Someone asks you a question, you can choose to say, I'm not going to answer that. Do you know what I mean? But the only like, what's the word? Situation where you can be dishonest is if it's going to protect someone. So it's like a story of like, these villagers are running past and the yogis sat on the step. And then these bandits come and they ask the yogi, like, where did the villagers go? And the yogi goes, they went that way. And it's like, that's not yogic. Do you know what I mean? You've just sent the villagers to the death.
Yeah.
I'm telling you the truth, I'm a yogi. Do you know what I mean? It's like, no, send the bandits the other way. Protect the people. You know what's going on. Yeah. It's like these situations where you can hide the truth. Yeah. Oh, good lie. That's a good lie.
That's
yeah.
what I was always taught.
Yeah.
Sometimes everything has a purpose.
Yeah, but I was brought up like everybody I know lies all the time, and once you start shifting from not lying, it's like so interesting to see people lying all the time, just about stupid stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh no, I wasn't there because I went to the garage and then this thing happened at the garage. You know what I mean? And it's like, and I've just been with that person, and no, we didn't go to the garage. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, why? Like, you know.
I definitely do that sometimes.
Yeah.
Not today though.
Yeah.
So
No. But that's something that that's something that we have to eradicate. We have to eradicate that because they're not good lies. Like,
No,
but there's you might see them as white lies, but they're not. It's bad energy because they're just.
For you, not the other person.
But you have to start picking yourself up on them because I'd still do it. Like, I used to be like a bit aloof with people. Where did you get that thing from? And I'd be like, oh, I don't know. Just got it. Just got it. I know exactly where I got it from, but because I was like, I portrayed myself as this person that didn't shop on the high street or something, and then actually my mate worked in American Apparel and he used to give me vests all the time, so I used to wear the vests because I liked them, but I didn't like the fact he was from American Apparel and it was like a high street shop, so people would ask me and I'd be like, oh, I don't know, and then I'm like, when I then started to tell truth, I did it again, and I was like, excuse me, love, like, it's from American Apparel, that vest. I don't know why I just lied to you. So embarrass yourself. Go and embarrass yourself that you've just lied. Do you know what I mean? Then it gets you the feeling of, I need to stop doing that. You know what I mean? Because we're so in the habit of it. Just little things that we like. Stupid things. You know what I mean?
And it's probably because you got so many vests that they're now out of business. So
I know, yeah. Oh, he did make me I had to give him a few quid for him. We weren't nicking vests. I would have done when I was younger, been nicking vests. Yeah. I would have nicked them actually. So, if you're listening if you're watching, here we go. So, if you're watching on YouTube,
no, what we should do is we should just go.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Oh, check it out! Wow,
that's incredible.
I wanted to go home. I feel like what's the name? Dorothy in the Wizard of Oz. Where she just got to reels and then come home.
But you left your shoes off at the door, so it's
my new shoes. It's all right, yeah. But yeah, we're in my house now. We had some little issues with the last place we were in, my friend's studio. Well, it wasn't an issue, and I think that's one of my. We're talking about like qualities and stuff, and I think one of my qualities is to be able to improvise and adapt. To most situations, like rather than go, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? It's like, no, not what we're gonna do. Solution. Find a solution. And a lot of people get stuck in the what we're gonna do, or I can't, with the problem rather than to find the solution is always a solution. Come to my house.
Stuck in that question without finding an answer.
Yeah. I know a lot of people like that. Yeah. It's like no. Let's look at solutions rather than
just go with the flow.
That's happening and has happened.
Yeah.
So there's nothing we can do about that.
Added a bit of magic to the video. It's perfect.
Exactly.
It's actually nicer. It's warm.
It's warm.
Yeah.
Was it cold in the other place?
Yeah. No, but it's also warmer. Like the energy, maybe because we are in your home.
So podcast.
On with the questions.
Yeah. Thanks to everyone who
stuck with us.
Yeah. No. Just thanks for everyone who sent a question. Yeah. And if you're listening to the podcast, thanks for staying with it.
To them, it's gonna be seamless.
Imagine if we just included the whole thing of leaving the building, recorded it, recorded getting in the car, recorded our conversation in the car, recorded setting up again.
That would have been a good outtake.
Do you reckon that would have been interesting for people to listen to?
Maybe. Could have put some Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels style music in there.
Feliz Navidad.
Feliz Navidad. Okay, questions. Focus.
Okie dokie.
Center.
Should I go for it? Alright, so next one is...
No, go past the microphone.
Okay.
Or pull the microphone.
So I'll help you.
Yeah. So next one is, were there any parts of the books that you added at the later date, like it wouldn't have felt whole, complete without it?
No, it was just all taking stuff out. Really, there was nothing. I remember when I was living in Lancaster and I was writing the book. I was spending a lot of hours on it, and I just one day I was like, just finished my book. I just finished. I've said everything that I want to say. And then it was like a 6-year process of cutting stuff out, editing, like spell checking, getting people to edit it, rewriting little sections. And then there was, the odd bit with my editor, and she was like, "Oh, you could do with just a little bit more of an explanation in that point, just for people." But there was nothing that I don't think there was anything that I put in at a later date. There was stuff that I've written since then that's for another book, if there's ever another book to be written.
Was there anything you would kind of regret taking out? Was there anything you think, oh shit, why did I take that out?
No, I can't remember, if I'm honest. I can't remember which bits I took out and stuff. Like it was because it was that big. So every time you re-edited it, it was like a month's full-time job. Do you know what I mean? So it was like I was just wanted it done. Like when if my editor would have gone, cut this, I would have just cut it. And for some reason, like thank God, she kept a lot of it in. There was like a little bit of rework in the ending. The ending changed. The ending came in a bit sooner, and then when I like looked at it, I was like, yeah, she's got a good point. It does feel like that's the ending. So a couple of chapters got removed from the end. That was it, really. And one of the other chapters became the Hitching book, which is just a little short story, a little nice, happy short story,
cool.
Light-hearted, about hitchhiking around the UK. And I think it works well independently. And it didn't need it in the book, really. So
makes sense. Cool. Right, question aptly number 11.
Number 11. This is number 11 podcast.
Number 11
one of the master
podcast,
numbers.
Question number 11, and it's quite nice. Why does it end where it does? I think that's a really nice question.
Why does it end where it does? It just felt like an ending. It was just like, okay, I don't, shit's got to end. A lot of people and a lot of artists can't finish stuff. It's like, right, this is the end. It's finished now. Do you know what I mean? This is finished. Like, I don't need to carry it on. And I felt that it would leave people wanting to know what happens, rather than it kind of like clearing everything up. Do you know what I mean? And 6 months later, they live happily ever after. And I hate them bullshit films. Do you know what I mean? It tells you everything you kind of want to leave the cinema thinking about, or but yeah, I think just so I thought it encapsulated everything I wanted to say about mental health, everything I wanted to say about healing, without telling anyone what to do.
Yeah.
It was just like, this is my story. Be empowered by it. Make positive changes in your own life if you feel the need, but you've got to do that. I can't make you do that. And yeah, I was just like, I kind of have in mind that there's maybe another book to be written after it, which hopefully, if I keep building the readership like it's happening, people will want it.
Yeah, nice.
Will there be a second volume? What would you do differently for your next book?
The main thing I'd do differently is I'd self-publish it a lot quicker. I'd get professional people involved earlier to edit, to do me a cover. Like, you just kind of, a lot of people who are authors are just thinking that a publisher's going to come and snap them up and make them become the next big thing, and like take them on a tour and plan everything, which can happen, but then also it can be disempowering as well, because you could get published off a publisher and the publisher could do nothing for you, could do no marketing, could do limited stuff, can't understand why your book's not done well, and I guess every book's got its own path and its own way to reaching its fullest potential, and that's all I want with my book, is for it to reach its fullest potential. So I think, what I'd do differently is just speed the process up, but now I don't have the fear of it anymore, so it would be quite easy to do. And just little things I learned about self-publishing along the way. Like, I'm not like an expert, but I do get people asking me now. But there's elements of it that, you know, it's a bit geeky for me, and I struggle with being in front of my laptop all day geeking out, and I'd rather be like doing handstands in my garden. You know what I mean?
How long did it take for your first book to be, since the moment you finish, we can say, like, writing it until it got published?
I'd say from the moment I started writing it until it got published was 8 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Long process.
Yeah, I reckon I finished writing it in 2013.
Okay.
Where I was like, this is it. This is all I want to say. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And then just, you know, not having the time to do another edit, not having the money to pay people to work on it for me. Lots of fear around it. Then forgetting about it for a while, like feeling like you've got no purpose and nothing to do, and then like all the haze clears and you're like, I've got this book like that I need to work on, like that I need to get published. Yeah, but sometimes you just forget. And I've got other projects that I work on and I'm working on. But last year I just forgot about everything and just was like in a bit of a hole, really, like in not a good place. Just forgetting lots of the wonderful things that I'd done, you know, and just like being in a bit of a panic. Yeah.
Everyone goes through those moments.
But they're good moments because they help you remember again. Yeah.
It's
all good.
All good, baby. Oh!
Oh, yeah.
The only way it could be better is if you're a pink unicorn.
Exactly.
But you'll never be a pink unicorn, sorry.
You never know.
Never.
I like the way you looked me up and down and then went, you never know.
Yeah. You don't know, mate.
You don't know me at the weekend.
This is true.
Right, moving swiftly on to the next question.
I like that one.
Get your pinky out. What have you learned from writing this book? I'll say that again into the mic because it wasn't. What have you learned from writing this book?
I'd say the biggest thing that I learned was how to spell thought.
Okay.
Because I could never spell thought because I always thought it had like an R and an A in it or something.
Like through, no? Or
well,
mixing it
when I realised it was though with a T and I could always spell though, so I just added a T and I was like, the fuck is someone telling me that years ago? It's though with a T. So I learnt that whilst I was writing my book.
And you like tea, so you'll always remember.
Exactly. So it's just like little things like that. Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know what else I learned from it. I've learned all about self-publishing.
There's a lot of things.
Yeah, I've learned about websites where you can get freelancers who will do your editing. Oh shit! Freelancers who will do your editing for you, like people who will proofread your thing, like websites like Upwork. Researching on Google how to self-publish, and there's just step-by-step things that you can follow. The podcast has kind of come from the book, and I've learned all the skills for that. What else have I learned? I learned to be a vegan. Maybe that wasn't through writing the book, though.
When did that happen?
Veganism?
Yeah.
2013. Loads of stuff happened 2012, 13.
There was a shift, no?
Yeah, we moved into the age of the feminine. 2012, the end of 2012, we moved into the age of the feminine, yeah. Age of Aquarius. The new Mayan calendar.
When's the next one?
I think it's like every 5,600 years or something.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, it's quite a while.
So, yeah.
Don't think you'll see that one, mate. You might.
Yeah.
I've got a bus to catch. I won't be there.
You never know. You might be.
You never know.
Some incarnation.
Might find some immortality.
No, you won't. You'll just be reborn as something.
Could be good.
Yeah.
I like that one. It's cool. How did you get into acting? Was there one particular person or film that inspired you This is a question from Lisa Jane.
Lisa Jane.
Thanks, Lisa Jane.
Yes, Lisa Jane.
Nice one.
You better listen to the podcast.
Yeah, it's a really good question.
What got me into acting? It was just being at school, really, and I guess showing off. I like showing off.
You showed off in school. I was there. Don't
It was
believe
something genuine and natural. Just being
and I was
comfortable.
I guess I was good at pretending to be confident. I wasn't always confident, but I was good at pretending to be confident. And I was really good at like getting other people to be confident. Like we'd be doing a play and I'd be shitting it, but I'd pretend that I was dead confident and try and get everyone else to be really confident. Like that it's not a problem. Do you know what I mean? Oh, we're fine. So it was just, and it was also, to be honest, being at school, what you're going to do when you're older, I'll be an actor, I can have sex with loads of hot women, actor women, models, and have the best looking girlfriends in the world. It's kind of like, I guess that was probably the main driving force behind it. Yeah.
Well,
it's not the worst when you're that age. That
exactly.
sounds awesome.
Yeah, and I think if I had
Also-
made it to like Hollywood standards, I think I probably would have had sex with Charlize Theron by now.
Like a Colin Farrell.
If you
kind
listen
of,
to
kind
us.
of figure. He's got,
Yeah,
got the Irish
probably.
blood thing
Yeah.
going on there.
I'd definitely give him a run for his money if I was in his kind of category.
Him and Russell Brand.
Yeah.
Like a middle ground.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. I was like, I don't want to be that far over towards Russell Brand, but he was good at it.
A little bit.
He's good at the womanising.
Yeah.
But I'm not interested in that anymore.
No. Got something you had there, mate.
It's the unicorn spraying.
There is a lot in the book about your relationships and attitudes towards women. Given your life and what you were brought up to believe of women's roles, etc., has that changed and what have you learned?
My perception of women, massively changed. Just lots of different stages. And I think it kind of documents it pretty well in the book, like moving from living in Manchester, being in a football environment, like where you kind of go out and all the lads go to one side of the pub and all the girls go to the other side of the pub and talk, and nobody mingles and mixes, and then you go home together and have sex. And then you do, then you bitch about the other person all week. There's kind of like no sort of togetherness and like friendship. It's kind of like separated in what I was brought up in. So then I think when I moved to London and I had a lot of friends who were girls, and it was kind of more like you could just hang out with a girl, which still my friends in Manchester who used to hang out with to do with football, they're just like, have you not had sex with her? I'm like, she's me mate. Yeah, but she's hot, isn't she? I'm like, so? Like, when I'm out with you, nobody asks if I've been having sex with you. He went, yeah, but I'm a bloke. And I'm like, yeah, but it's the same thing. Like, you're just me mate. I don't want to have sex with you. And I remember I moved in with a girl in Lancaster, and they're just like, oh, so how are you going to live with her and not have sex with her? I was like, by not putting my penis in her. The same way you stop smoking, stop putting the well, it's not the same thing, but it's just like, it was not even like, when something's not in your radar of but people, so it's like still being that mentality still exists in a lot of blokes that I grew up with in that area, like football. And it was really funny because like we did the yoga rave on Sunday, didn't we? And what was the 4 guys in there? 4 blokes?
Yeah, we were 4.
So it was 80 people.
We were 4.
You were, I
said.
So there was 80 people and there was 4 boys. And so then Monday night, I was like, I'll go and play football tonight. And then he's just like, it's just all boys. And then you go in the bar afterwards and it's just all boys. And just like, it's that juxtapose of like mentalities and like consciousness and open-mindedness to still be in that same environment that I was in when I was, late teens, early 20s, until I moved to London. And then it was just a progression of like realising that cheating on your girlfriend all the time wasn't right, because I never knew that it wasn't, because all the blokes had been around were everybody did it.
No.
My dad always did it. My brothers always did it, and I was just like, you just think it's normal. Like, they don't find out. It's all right. And then just it kind of going, oh, you know, started not sitting right with me eventually. And then I started to try and make positive shifts and positive changes towards it. And I guess it's weird because, like, I had really good girl mates, but then this sexual side of me towards women was very, like, objectified. Like, no, she's a sexual object rather than if she was just me mate, she'd just be me mate. Like, but if there was a sexual desire there, it was kind of, it changed the energy. And that's still there, and I never want that to go away. But when it's just about that, there needs to be something deeper to it. There needs to be something deeper to the connection, to the conversation, to the... You know, you can still have just a sexual encounter with somebody. That's fine if that energy's there sometimes. But then, okay, is that leading to somebody getting hurt? Is that leading to, like, an extra connection? And that's something that I'm trying to be really sort of protective with in the way I am with women, because I have a lot of female friends that I don't have sex with, and that I really admire and, like, love hanging out with.
And it can still be quite confusing.
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah, it can be quite confusing, because sometimes you have a connection with a woman and you have sex, and then you realise actually you're just supposed to be friends.
Yeah.
But then that has some knock-on effects
for
somebody. Somebody can end up having a bit more of an attachment, you know, because sex is a massive thing. Like, once you have sex with someone, your energy is in their energy for like 7 years. Like, you have this energetic connection. It's like you can't get rid of that. It's always, there's some debris of it for a long period of time. So if you think about it, you're carrying around 23 or something, the amount of people's energy I was carrying around with me. It's like fucking mental. Imagine if you could see that. People would be freaked out. People wouldn't even come near you. Do you know what I mean? Unless they were
this person with you.
But that's how it is. And it's like, and I guess now learning the tantra and learning about how to respect women and women's emotions and moods and, like, just to understand women a bit more, which is kind of almost impossible for men, but it's something we can work on, and we can facilitate that more caring nature towards the things that women have to go through, which we can't even fathom. Do you know what I mean? Which is understandable that we can't fathom them, because it's hard to fathom something that you don't experience. But to actually learn about it and maybe teach our kids about it, and to learn that in school, because you don't learn that in school.
No.
You just learn bullshit. It's like, this is what these girls are actually going through. We were going through puberty, but it's not even touching the sides of what young girls are going through emotionally.
Changes,
And we take it personally because we're incapable emotionally. So, have my opinions of women changed? Yes.
In resume.
But I still love them. I'm still like I've often wanted to be gay, like, because I thought it'd be easier, and I would want to own it and flaunt it in front of people. Do you know, we were kind of still freaked out by it. But I'm just like, I just love women. Like, in all ways. And always, I can always find something beautiful in a woman. And I don't always have that with men.
Nice.
That was a complete
it's a nice answer.
Nice. It's not quite clear in the book when and how you got into yoga. Tell us more.
How I got into yoga?
Yeah.
When and how?
When and how. Very good. I got into yoga... Well, I actually got into yoga when my mum died. Because I started to think about soul, about spirituality. What the listeners would deem as yoga happened a lot later, when you think about a physical practice and going to a yoga class. But if you know what yoga is, which is self-realization, which is addressing situations, which is having a spiritual awakening, this happened years before I started doing yoga. could even go back as far as when I first had an awakening about environmental issues, about Mother Earth, about Gaia. That was kind of like my first step into yoga, of expanded consciousness, of like seeing more of a oneness about we're all on this planet together and we should be looking after it. And then when my mum died, it was more to do with the soul and like going into depression, and that's yoga. And people read my book and they go, oh, there's nothing about yoga in it. I'm like, it's a total book of yoga. I'm eradicating, what's the word? Behaviours, character defects. So in the 12 steps you talk about character defects, asking God to eradicate your character defects. And I was going through a lot of my character defects and trying to cleanse them, trying to eradicate them, and that's yoga. Being able to say the word God, thinking about it as a philosophy, as what it meant to me, and then thinking about something greater than myself. But then yoga actually, well, it's not yoga. Yoga's already started, yeah. So yoga started at the environmental awakening. The physical practice of asana, which is one aspect of yoga, which is so important to try and get into people's heads to rewire this thing of yoga. Because people who were jumping through hoops and wearing Lululemon, which is actually, as bad a company as any, which you would assume it would be a yoga brand, it'd be ethical, it'd be in line with the yoga principles, the 8 limbs of yoga, which it's not. So the actual asana, the physical practice, started when I went to India in 2011. And then I just kind of kept practicing, kept improving, kept seeing like waves of consciousness and changes through the practice. Certain teachings off certain teachers that kind of drop in, meditating. It started before I went to India, actually. So it's kind of like you have the 8 limbs of yoga, and it's like, where do you come into it? So most people will now come in at the asana part and then have to go back and learn the yamas and niyamas, like the 10 commandments. But you should be really learning those before you even stretch, do anything physical. So yeah, my argument with anyone who says there's nothing about yoga in it, it's like, go and learn about yoga, then read my book. Yeah.
Nice answer. And another brilliant question. The book has you moving around a lot. Have you ever tried staying in one place for a period of time? If not, why not?
Well, it's quite a funny question, really, because I was living in Paris for a little while, and I was like, one of the mime artists, but like I was just still. I was the tiger that wears all the painting.
Okay.
So you could say I was in one place for a very long time. Like, I could stay there like for 3 hours sometimes, just still in this, like, dressed as a lion. So yeah, stiller than most people are ever, isn't it?
So I think your life is with that answer, your life is quite a contrast of both.
Yeah, and that's bullshit, by the way. Never even lived in Paris.
Yeah, I was like, it's true.
But you practice stillness every day, don't you?
Yeah, I meditate every day.
So I'm just going to pretend I didn't fall for that. But
I was like, oh,
bastard.
Did it get you?
Did you know that?
Yes.
I could
believe
because I can believe that he would do something like that. That is what I could see you doing.
I wasn't sure I understood. I was like, what?
I could see you doing that.
What, the lion? What is about the lion?
I could see you doing also. Have you seen that guy with the bald head but has a massive beard and he walks around in underpants just talking about love? Doing kind of mime stuff.
Ginger guy.
He's massive on YouTube.
I don't know.
I'll send you a video. He bangs a drum and he's like, "Love is the answer. Love." He's just in his underpants walking around. I seen him in Paris. It was really funny. He was working with a mime act, and I could.
We should copy.
Oh, that's a compliment. But I could see you doing that.
I think so. I think that's a compliment. I'm not sure.
When you've lost your mind and everything else has gone to pot, that's your life. That's what's going to happen.
I just need to dress as a lion now, though. Be good. Staying in one place, I don't know, and I don't see what Manchester will always be home.
Mm-hmm.
It'll always be where I'm from. I'll always class myself as a Mancunian, but it's grey, man. The energy gets to me. It's a busy city. There's a lot of cars. There's a lot of people, and I hope even if like I had, like I've got a home here now, but you know, if I had kids and a family that, and we lived in Manchester, like that was our full-time base, that we'd still be travelling, be away quite a lot. I'm hoping that actually I settle somewhere in the southwest of France or something, or you know, or in Portugal or Spain or somewhere, just because it just feels so nice to get up, see blue sky, go in the water, connect with nature. Whereas like the greyness of especially like in the city in Manchester, it gets to me after a little bit. You know, and there's an edge. There's always an edge to. I think maybe if you're from Manchester, you maybe feel it a little bit more, but there's an edge to everything, and there's a lot more unhealthiness, and people seem a little bit more weathered, like they've had harder lives. You know, you get the plane from Barcelona, or you get a plane from Bordeaux, and everyone's like slim and looks healthy, and you know,
a bit more relaxed.
And you come here and everyone's like, there's just so many overweight people with like boozers faces, and you just like, people just look worse.
You can see it in their eyes that they hold on to that stress of life a lot more as well, instead of letting it go. I think abroad in Europe you can definitely see people just kind of like water off a duck's back, which is something I taught you recently, wasn't it, that phrase? But
water off a
just
duck's
to
back. Let it go. And that's the thing with yoga as well. It's just like, be able to let that go. Like I don't let Manchester affect me as much as it used to. I used to get back and really be down on it, and when I lived in London I was down on it, but you know, there's a lot of beauty in it. There's a lot of beauty here. There's a lot of creativity. But I feel more alive and more expansive when I'm in other cities. You know.
I do always think it'd be a really nice social experiment to take the mentality and attitude, in the sense of like, not of everything, but like the polite, respectful nature of a lot of people from Manchester, that northern sense of humour, and put that in a city like Barcelona or somewhere where it's a lot of sunshine and a beach, and just see how that would integrate into...
Probably a lot of them would kill themselves for the first year, because it's like, it's sunny, let's get to the bar! Go to the pub, and then it's like, sunny again! Oh, you're living in Barcelona. Oh, it's sunny! Your head would just be like... and then after 2 years, it'd be like...
Constant holiday mode.
Jeanette! There's something wrong with me.
My liver's complaining.
Yeah, it would.
You might be right there.
I think after a while he'd kind of get more into that mentality. Do you know what I mean?
If he'd managed to stay alive, find a bit more of a balance, Nice. Your question?
It's Aurelie's turn.
Yes.
So, everybody is still on a journey, and your book tells us much of yours during this time. What areas do you want to grow and learn more in?
I want to do more yoga teacher training.
Do you want to make like a specific type of yoga?
Jiva Mukti. I want to do Jiva Mukti yoga teacher training.
Can you explain us a little bit, maybe?
What's the difference?
It's just the style of yoga that, like, so I think when a lot of yogas came over from India, they diluted them a lot. Like, they took out mantras, they took out sometimes, like they tried to make it like more less spiritual, like more kind of accessible to a Westerner who wasn't
commercial,
who didn't want to be scared by the mantras and by the spiritual thing. It's just like an exercise, and even just as an exercise, the yoga, it should have an effect on you consciously, just the postures. But what Jiva Mukti does beautifully is that it actually fuses the Western creativity and art and poetry and dance and funkiness and coolness and like being on the edge of what's happening, but has a strict discipline, which is what yoga should have, in terms of like, we do mantra and we do sing together and you own it. It makes people own it, and we do talk about the yamas and niyamas and the limbs of yoga and all the other aspects of yoga, and you know, and learn Sanskrit, learn the mantras, learn the meanings of the mantras. So it's really traditional in terms of it's got its Indian roots, and it's not diluted it. It's probably actually heightened it a little bit, but it's cool as well. Do you know what I mean? It's accessible for young people who are just starting to get into it, rather than some yogas are a bit like, looks like everyone's old in here and everyone's got a strap and a block, and you know what I mean, and it's slow. Jivamukti's like, yeah, cracks on, and usually play good music, and the teachers are excellent. I've not really been to many bad Jivamukti teachers.
Cool. You quite liked it, no? When you tried.
Yeah, it was nice. Yeah, the centre that we went to. Yeah.
You usually play the harmonium at the beginning as well.
Who your guests
with Bodhi
watching this now will know as Prem Bodhi.
Prem Bodhi. Oh yeah, his podcast's out now. Yeah.
Is it out now? You've released it, yeah?
I think I released it today.
Nice.
Yeah, I did release it today.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. So yeah, he did a class for me. That was my first
Jiva
class. Mukti, yeah. Jiva.
Yeah, but I think like a lot of elements of how I teach is kind of Jivamukti, like doing poetry at the beginning, like talking.
I got that from it.
About certain things and playing dance music.
Nice.
Yeah. So that I want to do Jivamukti training. I want to do more tantra and men's work and growth. And most important thing that I want to do is have a better relationship with money. Like, see it as a beautiful, empowering thing that allows me to empower other people, treat other people, become an amazing teacher. Because who wants to be taught by somebody who's not financially got a shit together? Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's an aspect of my life that I've never put any focus into. It was just like it came and went, and it was fine. But it's sort of like, you know, just empowering. Empowering makes you feel better, makes you feel safe. So, yeah, focusing on that kind of wealth creation and abundance for the next kind of couple of years probably, and see where that takes me. But yeah, just to be a teacher, and the main thing is to, you know, be able to empower as many people as possible to shine their own light. I think. Is that what else would the question say?
That was it, I think. Yeah, I think you answered it really well. Yeah.
What would you like to learn? Yeah, good.
Yeah.
I think I'd like to learn more about how to be successful in business, probably, but it just doesn't interest me, but I should probably do it. Yeah.
Right, I think we're going to ask one more question, if that's all right.
Uno
más. Sí.
Por favor.
Okay. What is your plan now, following the book and all your experiences in it? What next for Mr. Browne, love?
So, probably just cocaine and strippers now.
All right, yeah,
forward.
Completely digress.
We go back to...
Yeah, cocaine and strippers.
Yeah. Finish the question.
Done the book, made the money.
Thanks for being
See you
here
later,
with us.
Thanks for the questions. No.
You're all right for now, don't worry.
What's next is... you know, I say that cocaine and strippers because it's just like, my friend was at a ceremony. My friend was at a ceremony, and the ayahuasquero did all the work, you know, called the spirit, saying he was working in that other realm, and then he come back to this realm, and he was like, just took a beer out of a little cool box that he had, started having a beer, and everyone was like, I thought it was really weird, and he was like, okay, who's getting the whores? But he just, you know what I mean? He was joking. But it was just like, to bring people back down. We still live in this world where that exists. We've just been in these realms of trying to cleanse ourselves, and that stuff's still happening. And, you know, I'm at that space with substances, with everything that I do, where I feel like completely in control of it. And if I'm not going to go and get strippers and do cocaine, but like, to drink, to use substances, to do drugs, whatever, like, it's not, you know, it's not out of my realm. Like, I'm never going to do that again. But it just always will depend how I feel. It will never have control of me again. I will never feel like I have to do it again. But in a situation, it might crop up, and that's not a problem. Like, I was at a class with a really good teacher, Stu, who was on the podcast actually, and he was like, his teacher's like, you can do anything you want to do, as long as it's like, you know, you're in control of it and it's not destroying your life. Like, try everything. Yeah, you're here in this physical world to try as many things as you sort of want and
have experiences.
But no, the main thing next for me is to get the audiobook out, to keep pushing this book and make it as successful as possible, for it to empower at least 1 million people to make improvements in their life. And then, just for the book to grow, for a community to be based around it. The yoga raves, like, I just feel that that's my thing. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel I have such a good time when I'm doing it, and I feel like everyone else is having a really good time as well. Do you know what I mean?
You can
Everyone's
really see how much you embrace it.
Coming off my vibe, and I'm like, I need to be spreading that amount of love all around the country and around Europe, really. I think the yoga raves, building that as a business and a brand. I don't know what else. What else am I working on?
That's good.
That's it, really.
That's enough.
That's enough, yeah.
Got full-time...
Podcast.
Full-time unicorn carer.
Unicorn to feed.
Yeah, exactly.
Unicorn.
Unicorn. You're going to get some corn from unicorn for the unicorn.
Should do.
Yes. Nice.
Right, guys. Anything else you want to just chat to finish the podcast with? Because just firstly, like, massive thank you to everyone who sent some questions in. It was great, and it's nice to actually sit down on my own podcast and speak to people, because people who've been listening to the podcast who don't know me won't really know much about me so far. So hopefully they know a little bit more about me. Yeah. And if anyone's got another question that's come up, or your question hasn't been answered, just like shout at me. Somehow, Oi! Didn't answer my question. I'd be like, alright, I'll do it next time. Just answer it on my intro or something. Just answer it on my intro. Liam!
I think you did. I think you answered most of the questions.
Yeah, there were.
There was a couple of overlapping questions that kind of led to the same answers anyway. But really nice.
Nice one, guys.
Namaste, brother.
Namaste.
Another really good one. Yes.
I'm a gangster money maker.
Yeah, man. You definitely inspired Relo. He was sending me pictures of him reading that new book, You're a Badass at Making Money. Yeah, so
it's a good book.
You've inspired him to take that leap of faith.
Everyone should read that book. I'm a badass at making money, and I've just been reading this other book. It's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
It's a good one.
I've seen it at the FNAC.
It's a good one. What's his name? Mark something.
I just know him as Mark.
It's like sold 5 million copies.
It's
a really
good.
Big book. It's really good. I've got the audio book of it. It's
awesome.
Kind of incorporates a lot of the philosophies that I already practice, and I've kind of just fortunately stumbled across and embraced anyway. But it makes a lot of sense. It really articulates it in a much better and easy way to absorb. No, it's a no bullshit thing. Like, that's how I got into. Found a YouTube video for meditation, and I was like, no bullshit meditation, perfect to what I listen, and it really just took all the nonsense out of it and helped me get into it. So that's kind of that vibe. Really no nonsense.
There's lots of stuff out there, so people just have to keep reading, listening, making themselves better. Yeah. Until the day you die. Don't watch much telly. Don't microwave your food. You'd be right. And put love at the end of your handle, remember?
With everything.
Remember, put love at the end of your handle.
Yeah.
I'm just got to write love at the end of every one of my door handles.
If there is one thing to remember.
One thing you need to do.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah.
And read emails better so you know when to leave venues.
Yeah, exactly. Be more on it with every aspect of my life.
Anything you want to say? Anything you want to add that you feel like people need to know? What's maybe because this is don't forget this is wrapping up your series for this season of podcasts. So that's number 11 now.
Yeah. So.
Magic number.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, thank you to all the guests so far. Thank you for you two to actually asking the questions
Pleasure
today and, making the time for it. It's really, I feel blessed that you've done that. Thanks for being on the show, for being a guest.
Pleasure.
Got loads of good feedback from that episode.
Nice.
And everyone who's been on it, let me try and remember them.
In order.
Stu Pilkington, Win Carter, Matt Ryan, Gina Swire, Greg Garrett, Lewis Powell, Zander Stewart. That was hard, that one. I was just it's because you were here, I think. Bodie, Prem Bodie. You've not listened to this one, it's not been released yet. Well, it will be by the time I put this one out. Otherwise, I've made a massive fuck up. Oh, no, it's not right. That's not right. I've missed someone.
No.
Oh! Sorry, rewind. Veronica Catastrophically. Catastrophically.
Something like
that. Andrei Shevchenko. Oh, no. Veronica Shevchenko. We'll call her Veronica Shevchenko now. Yeah, it's easy to say. Bodie, Prem Bodie.
Yes.
Andrea, the psychic. Andrea Joy Adams.
Yes.
Formerly known as Andrea Joy Ryder. What a great name. And if you've not listened to that episode, please listen to that episode because I laughed more than I've ever laughed before. I think we came out, I laughed that hard. And then the Liam Browne episode where he answers the listeners' questions. Number 11, and that's
Q&A.
it. Yeah. So every 10th episode now I'm gonna be doing something. Doing a Q&A or something, or maybe I'll just talk for a little while. I thought someone was coming in my house then.
Nice, but you've already recorded some other interesting podcasts.
Yeah, so the next series, I've got DJ Relo already, haven't I?
Yeah, I kind of gave that away there. If you don't edit that out, but he's a good friend and a good person.
Yes, it's a good, interesting episode, even though we've just had this massive malfunction with technology, which is kind of my life, really. I'm a spiritual being and I destroy technology. Yeah. Just losing videos. He
also did that though.
He did that, but you know what's really bad is that the angle that did survive was mainly on me. It's just his head in the corner. It's it looks so I've just shot the podcast in my favour. Do you know what I mean? Look at me, but it's actually his angle.
We'll just have to paint his face on the side. Just so it's
a
smiley face on the side.
You can just see the side of his head comes in every now and again, and it's fine. I'll just explain that when I do the introduction to the show. But yeah, that was a really nice conversation, and it's just really thanks for hooking us up with him, with Veronica. Who else? Charlotte Kelberain.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the second French girl now.
Second French girl on the show. She's gorgeous. She's from the really corporate background, so it's really interesting. And I wanted to have someone like that on the show. But she's another Jiva Mukti teacher. I think we made a deal that if I get another 8 Jiva Mukti teachers on my show, that I get a free training. If Jiva Mukti people are listening, hook me up.
Put it out there, why not?
That's about it, really. Nothing else to say. Just thank you. Keep spreading the Dealer to Healer podcast. Cool. All right, on that note, let's end it there. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have a safe trip back to Barcelona. Enjoy the sun.
I'll send you some pictures.
Lots of love. Blessings.
Peace.
Boom. Yeah. Cool. Right. Done it.
Sexy.
Thank you so much for listening to the Deal is a Healer podcast. Please stay tuned for more episodes of transformation, of metamorphosis, of people becoming the most beautiful version of themselves and teaching you, the listeners, how to become the most beautiful version of yourself. So if you want all that information, all that knowledge, all these amazing guests that I've got on my show, please subscribe. There's a subscribe button somewhere on this screen, so please just link onto that. You'll get a notification straight away of any new episodes, and I promise you I've got epic guests coming up, so please stay tuned. If you want to know anything else about the Dealer to Healer movement, of what I've got going on, about my links to the book, links to my website, links to my music, everything, please go in the description below. It's just down there somewhere. You just hit description and everything, it'll tell you everything. So nice one, have a beautiful day, take it easy, and remember, please subscribe, that would be amazing. Peace.